The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. In an online forum, Kasambahays asked Vice President Leni Robredo whether she was angry at presidential aspirant and former Senator Bongbong Marcos. Robredo says anger should not be directed at a person, but rather at what they're doing. In the forum with household service workers, Robredo said Filipinos should become angry at public officials like herself if they are doing wrongful acts. And she pointed out that those in office have an obligation to do good and be free from corruption. Robredo then brought up the rampant corruption during the Marcos regime, which she says should be condemned by Filipinos. The Vice President also said that although she respects people who support other candidates, their decision should be based on the truth and not on misinformation. She then urged her own supporters to respectfully correct other Filipinos who fall prey to false information on social media.
Sa akin, tingin ko hindi dapat tayo nagagalit sa tao eh. Ang dapat na nagagalit tayo sa ginagawa. Yun sa akin, dapat hindi lang kay Bongbong Marcos pero sa ibang mga public officials. Nung sila pa yung nakaupo, matindi yung korupsyon. Marami ng mga desisyon ang korte na sinasabi na talagang marami yung kasalanan na ginawa na kailangan ibalik yung pera sa taong bayan.
Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte slammed Mon Tulfo over his Philstar column entitled Plan C. The presidential daughter said the columnist based the entire article on hearsay and devoted 7 of its 20 paragraphs on, quote, pure chismis. Tulfo's claims in the column ranged from imputing bad blood between the Davao City mayor and her father to confirming without basis her supposed plan to run as Marcos Jr.'s running mate. In a statement, Sara Duterte questioned the Star in its vetting process before publishing columns and articles, and she also directly accused Tulfo of journalistic irresponsibility. And as the object of this supposed irresponsibility, Duterte said she deserves an apology, but is not expecting one. Senator Manny Pacquiao supports the move to amend the law on substitution of candidates. According to Pacquiao, some parties are abusing the substitution rule for their political gain, adding that only those with valid reasons must be allowed to be substituted.
Kung sino-sino lang ginagamit inaabuso naman. Inaabuso naman yung substitution. Siguro palitan natin, specify natin mabuti doon. May substitution pa rin pero doon lang sa kung namatay yung nag-file or nasiraan ng ulo, hindi na makapag tuloy ng kanyang kampanya, yun lang. O kaya nagkasakit ng malubha. Yun lang.
We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. As COVID-19 cases drop ahead of Undas, MMDA reminds LGUs in Metro Manila to enforce the 30% cap on daily visitors in cemeteries and columbariums. Recall that memorial parks and columbariums will be closed to visitors from October 29 to November 2. So the MMDA hopes that the public will plan their visits ahead of time to avoid overcrowding in cemeteries.
Kaya nga natin in-announce yan ng maaga para po mag-spread out ng tao. Just the same, during the period na open po ang ating sementeryo ng 27 or 28, kailangan pa rin pong sundin yung ating restriction as to the capacity, which is 30%. So hindi po dapat dumagsa ang mga kababayan natin.
The sole public cemetery in Malabon is set to undergo redevelopment, forcing residents to transfer or rebury the remains of their lost loved ones. And aside from the departed, the redevelopment also affects informal communities living among the dead. Lala Pangilinan with the details.
Residents are flocking the Tugatog Public Cemetery in Malabon just a few days before All Saints' Day. But instead of offering a prayer, giving flowers, and lighting a candle for their dearly departed, most of them are busy with the disinterment of their dearly departed. As the only public cemetery in Malabon is up for redevelopment come November.
The last 3 years, konti lang talaga nalilibing siyan kasi punong-puno na. So we want to fix it para sa ganun makinabang ang mga Malabonians. Unfortunately, nagka-COVID. So na-delay all these things. We need to fix the cemetery because una, nababahay yung lugar and magulo yung setup.
Family members of those buried in the cemetery have two choices. First is to pay 3,500 pesos per body so that it can be moved to another cemetery, or they can avail of their free reburial offered by the LGU. However, those who opted for the latter couldn't help but worry that the bones that they would reinter is no longer that of their loved ones.
Okay lang po, basta yung patay namin, mababalik. Siyempre, hindi dinadasalan mo, tas hindi naman pala sa inyo yung buto. Nag-ano lang pala. Yun lang naman po yung concern ko.
But the Malabon LGU assures the public that they have commissioned a developer that has years of experience in developing cemeteries.
It's such a sensitive matter. Ang isang haka-haka na may nagpapalabas na lahat ng mga buto ay papagsama-sama. Hindi. That's all individual. Kasi, we have to, first and foremost, we have to respect the dead. No? So, kailangan yung protocols, that will be followed.
A family member will also be present to properly identify the body once the disinterment begins. It will then be placed on a body bag with the name of the deceased for proper tagging. Mayor Antolin Oreta III also denied allegations that the LGU has sold the public cemetery to the owners of the Loyola Memorial Park.
It's sad, no? Because maybe because it's election season, sana huwag tayo maniwala sa mga fake news. Tingnan natin because this will benefit the city and the majority of the people living here in the city. Basically, it's really to increase the number of people that we will be able to put para mas madaming makinabang. I think that's the whole point of the whole redevelopment lang naman talaga. And make it beautiful.
Mausoleums with neoclassic and Art Deco architectural designs are also not spared from the redevelopment. These include the famous graves of Malabon's Robin Hood stuntman turned criminal Benjamin Ben Tamling Garcia and Don Simeon Bernardo's tomb that has a sculpture of a devil defeating an angel. The Malabon LGU says that these structures may be spared, but only as part of the cemetery's design. After the redevelopment, the public cemetery can accommodate 50,000 versus the current burial capacity of 7,000. All graves will be of the same size, but it's not only the dead that's affected by the move. The living who makes a living in or informally dwelling in the cemetery have nowhere to go once the redevelopment starts. One of them is Fermina, who has been living in the cemetery for 20 years.
Hindi namin alam kung saan kami talaga pupunta. Kundi sa karsada na naman, ganun. Ang namin, wala kaming talagang ibang mapupuntahan.
The Malabon LGU assures the cemetery's dwellers that they will be relocated. For News 5, Laila Pangilinan, we are One News.
Senator Manny Pacquiao's former aide, Jake Hoson, has filed cyber libel and cyberbullying cases against Annabel Rama. Recall that Rama and Hoson have been firing tirades at each other via social media, with Rama accusing Hoson of financially abusing Pacquiao, while Hoson called Rama a liar. Their quarrel has now culminated with Hoson filing cases against Rama for cyber libel and cyberbullying before the NBI, adding that Rama has no idea what went on during Hoson's time with Pacquiao, saying that she's inserting herself in an issue that does not concern her.
Pinaglalaban ko lang po yung matagal na iningatan ng pangalan ng magulang ko, ng mga kamag-anak ko na Hoson, tapos babahiran mo ng kasinungalingan at pagbibintang kasi gusto mo lang umepal. Hindi ba pwede yun? At hindi ka rin namin nakatrasan doon.
Fresh from his double medal win in the World Artistic Gymnastics Championship in Japan, Carlos Yulo is now setting his sights on future tournaments. According to Yulo, winning the gold at vault and silver at parallel bars is just the beginning of his goal to make up for his Tokyo Olympic setback. He's also gearing up for the All-Japan Gymnastics Championship for this December, as well as 3 events in 2022, the SEA Games, Asian Games, and the World Championships. Long-term, Yulo is also looking forward to competing in the Paris Olympics in 2024, inspired by Heidelin Diaz's historic win.
Pag dumating po yung Olympics, gusto ko po na ma-make sure na nandun po ako sa finals and makakakuha po ako ng medals po. Gold po talaga nung nakita ko yung kay Ate Heidelin. Nakaka-inspira po talaga eh. Like, gusto ko din nun.
Here's a quick look at some of today's headlines. More than half of Filipino adults say their quality of life got worse over the past year, based on the latest SWS survey. The government is pushing for 100% seating capacity in public transportation. And vlogger Nas Daily reconciles with Apo Wang-od. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We're One News.